is a short video on how to read a safety data sheet, and safety data sheets are now in the folders and online instead of the material safety data sheets. And they're very similar really, but this is more of the global harmonization system that all of the sheets match all over the world. So we'll just go through them quickly. Section 1 is going to have the name, and you just want to make very sure it's the same name, or this is the same name that's on the label is on the sheet, because even a small change can make a difference in the hazards. Section 2 is hazard identification, and so all of the things listed here are going to be the dangers associated with that chemical. And you can see here there's it's N-butyl alcohol is a flammable hazard, it's a toxicity hazard, and there'll be more about that in the section in the back. Things that you shouldn't do while you're working with it. Skin corrosion or irritation is a possibility, and they go through with all the dangers there. Section 3, they have a common names here. Sometimes you see the synonyms there. The CAS number is somewhat important, because if there is ever an emergency, the CAS number, emergency rooms have a booklet with all those numbers in it, and you can quickly reference that. And the formula maybe not so much. Up here are pictograms, which is probably the biggest thing with the safety data sheets and the new labeling system, is that the pictograms are pretty much, you know, cross-language barrier. Because they have specific pictures that tell you about the dangers. All of the pictograms are here. You can have help hazard, gas cylinder, flame over a circle for oxidizers, just the flame for flammables. We have a lot of those. Corrosive, or the corrosion, and the environmental dangers. Exclamation point is pretty common for irritants, toxicities and that kind of thing. And so exploding bomb and skull and crossbones, I really shouldn't have any of those in a school setting. Alright, coming back to the material safety data sheet, the safety data sheet, there's some first aid measures that can be taken if there's an exposure. Firefighting measures, we have given all of our chemical safety data sheets to the local fire department, so they should know what is needed. Not always water, and so if you have that booklet on hand, you can also talk to the firefighters if need be. Hopefully that will never have to happen. Accidental release measures, if this were to go down the drain, or that this chemical should go down the drain, and something like that. Okay, I don't think we have anything that toxic that it would cause an issue down the drain. We have section 7, the handling and storage, and we follow the Flynn suggested chemical storage pattern at the high school, and really at the middle school too, for the small amounts. And so this is where these chemicals should be stored. Exposure controls, normally they're going to tell you wear eye protection, protective clothing if needed, gloves, that kind of thing. Physical chemical properties, probably not going to be as useful to us because we probably know those already, but those are listed. The stability, the shelf life. Toxicological information, if you've ever wondered what those are, the oral rat LD50 at 790 milligrams per kilogram, what that means is that they fed this to a whole bunch of rats, and at 790 milligrams per kilogram of rat weight, 50% of the rats died. The other 50 weren't doing so hot either, but at least they weren't dead. So that's what that means, oral rat, LD50. You can say inhalation rabbit, lethal concentration 50. At that rate of 8,000 parts per million, 50% of the rabbits died. And then skin absorption rabbit. Ecological information, probably not as interesting to us or necessary for us, but disposal considerations, if there's anything that's considered hazardous, has a GHS label on it, and you're trying to get rid of it, we should dispose of that through the University of Minnesota, and you'd want to give it to me or tell me about it, and I would have the University of Minnesota come and pick that up and dispose of it. The middle school and the high school have different EPA ID numbers, so we'd have to keep those in those locations, but the U of M could come and get those. And that is pretty much how you read a safety data sheet.